Investiture of the Gods, Chapter 25.
First piece of bad news that lands on Prime Minister Bigan's desk.
Yeah, the trouble starts almost straight away. General Huang, who's stationed at Sichuiguan, sends a report, a memorial, to King Zhu.
Okay.
And the core message is this. King Wen of Zhu, that's Ji Chang, over in the west, he's just appointed Jiang Shan as his prime minister.
Right, that name rings a bell.
Oh, it should. Bigan certainly sees it as a big deal. The report calls it an act of no small ambition, and Bigan, he doesn't just file it away. No, he really thinks about its size, notes Jiang Shan's great ambition. He knows this is serious, critical enough to take straight to the king.
So it's like a clear warning sign. A rival power is getting organized.
Exactly. A rival power with a very capable, very ambitious figure now leading the government. That's the signal Bigan's picking up on.
Okay, so Bigan's worried about this new external threat. But it sounds like that wasn't the only problem he saw. He comes across as, really sharp, loyal. What else did he tell the king was wrong with the Shang Kingdom?
Oh, he lays it all out. It's pretty brutal, actually. He goes to the king and basically lists everything that's falling apart.
Like what?
Well, first, rebellion's already happening. The Eastern Marquis in Donglu, the Southern Marquis down in Sanshan, they're already in revolt.
Right.
Then he warns that King Wen with Jiang Shang could stir things up in the West. Knife and swords rising, the people stirring in rebellion, chaos.
So internal and external military threats.
Yes, but it's even worse. He talks about the homeland itself. Droughts and floods at inopportune times, the economy's collapsing, people impoverished, military weary, and crucially, treasuries empty.
Wow. Empty treasuries. That's bad.
Very bad. And to make things even worse, their main military guy, the Grand Preceptor, is off fighting way up north. Nobody even knows how that's going.
So the kingdom's basically undefended and broke with enemies inside and out.
That's the picture Bigan paints. He tells the king, look, this is a time we really need to stop, think, and figure out a plan. Monarch and ministers together, he's practically screaming, we are on the edge here.
Okay, that sounds dire. You've got rebellions, a potential invasion, economic ruin, the army's leader's MIA. How does King Zhu take this? Does Bigan's warning actually land, or does someone else chime in?
Well, this is where it gets frustrating, I suppose. King Zhu's reaction is, well, not great. Instead of taking Bigan's very serious, very detailed warning to heart, he gets, let's say, distracted.
Distracted. By what?
By the arrival of the Northern Marquis, Changhuhu. And Changhuhu isn't bringing bad news. Oh, no. He's arrived to announce that Lutai, the Deer Terrace, is finished after, 2 years and 4 months of construction.
Ah, the vanity project.
Exactly. And King Zhu, he's absolutely thrilled, overjoyed, gives Changhu all the credit.
So instead of dealing with the crisis, he's celebrating the completion of this massive palace.
Pretty much. And then, unbelievably, King Zhu actually turns to Changhuhu, the guy who just delivered the good news about the palace, and asks him for advice about the threat from King Wen and Jiang Shan, the very threat Bigan just warned him about.
You're kidding. What does Changhuhu say? Let me guess, it wasn't exactly strategic genius.
Not quite. Changhuhu basically pours honey in the king's ear. Pure flattery and dismissal. He scoffs at King Wen. What ability does he have? And Jiang Shang, he's just, what sort of thing?
Seriously, he dismissed Jiang Shang like that.
Yep. It compares them to, frogs, frogs stuck in a well who can only see a tiny patch of sky. And fireflies, tiny lights, no real threat. Says their efforts are like cold cicadas clinging to dry willows. They'll just shrivel up and disappear.
So just ignore them.
That's the advice. Ignore them. They're powerless. And King Zhu, he just eats it up. His response, your words are excellent.
Wow. So Bigan gives him the hard truth, lists all the dangers, and Changhuhu tells him everything's fine, don't worry, and that's the advice he takes.
It's a classic pattern, isn't it? The appeal of the comforting lie versus the inconvenient truth. Changhuhu knew exactly what the king wanted to hear, flattered his ego, downplayed the real dangers, and it worked. Tragically.
Yeah, quite a lesson there. So, okay, political stability is, non-existent. Real threats are being ignored. And the king's focus shifts entirely to this building.
Lutai.
The Deer Terrace. We've heard it mentioned, but what was it actually like, this monument to, decadence?
Oh, the descriptions are something else. It's painted as just magnificent, utterly spectacular. King Zhu goes to visit with Daji, his favorite concubine, and the text compares it to, a heavenly palace, a jade pond purple mansion, or a jade palace pearl tower.
Sounds pretty grand. What were the details?
Think white stone masonry for the whole structure, adorned with agate. It had tiered pavilions, multiple levels with carved eaves and green tiles, and these terrace platforms decorated with golden rings in the shape of beasts and horses, just incredibly ornate.
Wow. Like something out of a fantasy. What about inside?
Even more lavish. The main hall had luminous pearls embedded everywhere, apparently so bright they lit the place up at night.
Pearls that glow.
That's what it says. And all around, it was laid with beautiful jade and fine gold glittering brightly. It sounds designed to just overwhelm you with wealth and power. A true wonder, in terms of construction at least.
It sounds absolutely stunning, a real spectacle. But reading between the lines here, was everyone impressed? Or was there another side to this glittering coin?
Yes, the other side. That's where the story gets really dark. The narrative immediately undercuts the splendor. There's a poem right there in the source that basically says, Lu Tai will cut off the roots and sprouts of Cheng Tang. He's the founder of the Shang dynasty, remember?
Right, the revered ancestor.
Yeah.
So building this thing is actually destroying the dynasty's foundations.
That's the implication. The poem talks about earthwork raising people's disappointment, people's resentment rising. It even says ghosts becoming demons because of it. And it directly blames Chang Hu's evil of endless greed and another advisor, Fei Zong's cunning flattery.
So not just a building, but a symbol of corruption and, well, bad vibes. What about the human cost?
That's spelled out too. Bigan himself, remember him, the loyal minister. He looks at Lu Tai and just thinks about the countless money and provisions, the infinite treasures poured into it, and where did it come from? He thinks of it as people's fat and people's grease, abandoned in a useless place.
People's fat and grease, that's a horrifying image.
It is. He even imagines how many wronged souls and grooved ghosts are sort of trapped in the construction. And then there's this rhapsody, a kind of poetic critique that's even more direct. It says Lu Tai was built with the blood and fat of 10,000 people, that it absorbed the spirit of the common people.
Wow.
Yeah. It paints pictures of empty looms of weaver girls because the resources were diverted. It says the sounds of silken bamboo music from the palace drowned out the wild men's cries of the suffering people outside. The conclusion is scathing. It serves one person with the entire realm, truly a solitary tyrant destroying 10,000 common people.
So the ultimate symbol of a ruler, completely disconnected from his people's suffering. All that gold and jade built on misery.
Precisely. Lu Tai isn't just architecture, it's a statement. A beautiful, glittering mask hiding rot and exploitation underneath. The text masterfully shows you the splendor, then immediately hits you with the brutal reality of its cost.
A very stark contrast. Okay, so the king is loving his new palace, totally ignoring the suffering it caused. But he wants more. He actually wants to meet immortals there. Where did that idea even come from, and how does Daji fit into this?
Right, this is where Daji really steps up her game. The king turns to her and asks, basically, hey, remember you promised immortals, celestial maidens, fairies. Are they going to show up at Lu Tai?
She promised him immortals.
Apparently. And here's the kicker, according to the sources. Daji had originally suggested building Lu Tai in the first place as part of a plot to get revenge on Jiang Sheng, and, well, generally to mislead the king further.
So this desire for immortals wasn't random. It was, seeded by her earlier manipulations.
It seems that way. She created the expectation, possibly, and now the king's calling her on it. But she doesn't miss a beat. She uses it.
Okay, so how does she handle it? Did she say, oh yeah, they're coming Tuesday?
Not quite. She's much smoother than that. She gives him this kind of vague, mystical answer. Says that immortals are pure and virtuous beings, very special. They'll only visit, she says, when the conditions are perfect. Moon is full and bright, with no clouds in the clear sky.
Setting the stage.
Exactly. And King Zhu, completely buying it, figures out the full moon is just a few days away. He gets all excited and insists, okay, great, let's meet them then. He's totally hooked.
Hook, line, and sinker. And Daji, she doesn't just wait for the full moon, does she? She actually does something pretty dramatic that night, revealing her true colors.
She absolutely does. It gets really supernatural here. On the night of September 13th, so before the full moon banquet, she waits for King Zhu to pass out drunk, basically.
Okay.
Then, the text says, her primordial spirit exits her body. It's described as Yuanxing Chuqiao. Basically, her true essence, her spirit form, leaves her physical body in a gust of wind.
Whoa, so she's not human.
Definitely not. This confirms she's a powerful spirit entity. Likely the fox spirit the legends say she is. Her spirit travels quite a distance, 35 li, maybe 17 or 18 kilometers south of the capital city, Chaosh. She goes to a place called Xuanyuan Mound.
And what's there?
Her kin, essentially. She's greeted by a whole bunch of other fox spirits and also this figure called the nine-headed pheasant spirit, another powerful demon.
So it's like a family reunion of shape-shifting spirits. What's the plan she cooks up with them?
She tells them King Zhu wants to meet immortals. And her plan is, well, brilliant deception. She tells the spirits there who can shapeshift to transform themselves, become immortals, celestial maidens, or fairies.
Fake immortals.
Exactly. They're to attend a big feast she's planning at Lutai called the Nine Dragon Feast. Those spirits who can't shapeshift, they have to stay behind.
How many fakes did they manage to recruit?
The nine-headed pheasant spirit checks and says they have 39 spirits ready and able to transform. 39 fake immortals for the king's party. Though the pheasant spirit herself says she can't make it, she has other business.
39. Okay. And then Daji just pops back into her body.
Yep. Her spirit returns. King Zhu is still out cold, completely unaware that his concubine just took a spirit journey and arranged for a demonic masquerade ball on his brand new terrace.
It's incredible, the level of manipulation.
Yeah.
Exploiting his ego, his desire for the fantastical, that detail about the primordial spirit, the specific number of fake immortals. It's chillingly precise.
It really shows how vulnerable power can be when it desperately wants to believe in something magical, something beyond the ordinary, especially when reality is so grim. Daji plays him perfectly.
So the trap is set. A demonic feast disguised as a heavenly gathering. The king is completely fooled, expecting genuine immortals. But who does Daji nominate to actually, host this incredibly deceptive, potentially disastrous event?
This is the final twist of the knife, really. The next day, the king's all excited, asks Daji how to prepare. She suggests the setup. 39 tables, because there are 39 immortals coming, arranged in 3 layers on Lutai. Very specific.
Oh.
And then she says, you need a really good host, a generous minister to pour wine and accompany the banquet, someone with gravitas.
Let me guess.
You got it. King Zhu immediately says, Big An, he's the only one, the man with a vast capacity among my ministers.
Oh no, Big An, the one guy who sees through all the nonsense, the one who tried to warn him.
The very same. He's summoned, and King Zhu commands him, be at Lutai on the 15th, the night of the full moon, ready to host the immortals.
That is just cruel irony. How does Big An react? He must know something is deeply wrong with this meeting immortals idea.
Oh, he knows. He's completely floored, confused, distressed. The text says he sighs to the heavens. He basically says, muddle-headed monarch. He laments how bad things are, state and dynasty in such a plight, national affairs grow more precarious each day. And now this foolish, perverse idea to meet immortals.
Does he suspect Daji? Or just think the king's lost it?
He calls it evil talk. He knows it's not right, asks, how can it be a good omen for the country? He goes back home, just utterly bewildered, stuck with this impossible, ludicrous task. He sees the disaster coming, but he's crapped by his duty to this deluded king.
King Zhu, and he's just absolutely buzzing with eagerness, ready to host these supposed immortals.
Yeah, he's bought into it.
Totally. And the preparations they describe are just, well, spectacular. The date's September 15th, twilight. Picture this, the Grand Deer Terrace, 39 tables laid out.
Stirring high.
In 3 magnificent tiers. The text talks about cooking dragons and roasting phoenixes, rare delicacies and fine wines.
Yeah.
Really sounds less like a normal feast and more like, this huge display meant to impress, right?
Absolutely, like showing off.
Almost arrogant in how fancy it is.
Definitely. It's a spectacle designed for maximum impact. But the first sort of red flag for anyone familiar with Feng Shenani isn't just the crazy extravagance. It's this subtle but really critical move by Daji, the king's consort.
Daji, always involved.
Always. Before the guests even show up, she tells King Zhu not to meet them directly.
Oh, why?
Her reason: to stop any leaking heavenly secrets. Which, immediately shows her manipulating things, right? It foreshadows what these guests are really about.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
It makes you ask, what kind of secrets are so delicate they can't handle the king seeing them? Especially if they were really divine beings. It suggests the lie itself is kind of fragile.
So Daji keeps the king away and boom, the whole atmosphere just shifts.
Yeah.
Drastically. The text gives us this incredible image. Demonic clouds rise to shroud the cosmos, cold mist and haze darken heaven and earth.
Powerful stuff.
It is. What does this immediate dramatic change in the environment tell us about who's really arriving? And what's it supposed to do to King Zhu, who's apparently peeking through a curtain, feeling his heart trembling?
Well, it's a brilliant narrative trick, isn't it? The text uses these vivid atmospheric details, not just to set a scene, but to signal right away, hey, something sinister and unnatural is here. The demonic clouds and cold mist, they're not just bad weather. They're like literal manifestations of these beings cloaking their arrival in this sort of fake sublime while hinting at something really quite nasty underneath.
Okay.
And King Zhu's trembling heart. It's not just simple fear. It's that gut feeling, that instinctive recognition of something deeply unnatural. It's like a little crack in the fantasy he's built up about divine favor.
Oh.
Even from far away, the illusion's already showing strains.
And when these immortals finally do arrive, dropping onto the terrace in all this swirling chaos, their appearance is just as elaborately fake.
Right.
They're described in robes of 5 colors, blue, yellow, red, white, black, fancy headwear, like fishtail crowns, 9-yang scarves, double bun hairstyle. They look like immortal maidens and celestial princesses.
The whole 9 yards.
Exactly. A perfect visual illusion. But there's a clue, almost like a little Easter egg for the sharp reader, hidden in the poem about their entrance.
Exactly right. The poem drops this immediate, subtle hint connecting them straight to Daji. It says, under Empress Su's gaze, her descendants are revered.
Ah, Empress Su being Daji's original name? Sort of?
Precisely. So that line is absolutely key because it subtly points out these aren't just random immortals. They are Daji's descendants, her minions. It sets the stage right away for who these mystery guests really are. The text is kind of winking at you, revealing the truth, even while the characters are supposed to be fooled.
Classic foreshadowing. So with these fancy disguised figures now filling the Deer Terrace, who's the first mortal there to actually interact with them?
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, see past the disguise.
That would be Big Gan, the Grand Counselor.
Okay, Big Gan.
He shows up in his formal court dress, looking all dutiful and loyal, ready to help host the banquet. He checks out these immortals up close, and at first glance, they genuinely seem to have that immortal demeanor and ascetic bones vibe.
They look the part.
Totally. They look like these ageless, calm beings. Outwardly, they are exactly who they claim to be. But like we're seeing, appearances are masters of deception in this story. Something, even to a sharp eye, is a little off.
And what's really fascinating here, and it highlights how deep the novel gets about perception, is that even with this super convincing visual disguise, Big Gan, who's often shown as having this pure spirit, sharp senses, he notices something totally out of place, a distinct fox stench.
The smell.
Yeah, a pervasive, unmistakable fox smell. And he immediately thinks to himself, immortals are beings of pure senses. Why is this foul odor assailing me? That's his first big clue, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
What does that say about perception? That sometimes the biggest truths aren't seen, but smelled. Something almost primal cutting through the visual noise.
It's such a brilliant detail. It shows that true nature, can't be completely hidden just by looking different. Their magical disguises might fool the eyes, but they can't quite cover up their basic animal essence. Especially not from someone spiritually tuned in like Big Gan. It's a powerful point that sensory details, the ones we often ignore, can be the ultimate truth tellers when you're up against illusion. The body knows, even if the mind's trying to believe the lie.
But even with these growing doubts, duty calls. The drinking starts. Big Gan has to serve wine to all 39 tables, playing his part as the official host.
Doing his job.
And interestingly, Daji keeps pushing him. Keep serving, keep serving. Makes you wonder if she's trying to keep him busy, or maybe worse, trying to make sure her guests get really drunk on that royal wine.
Could be both.
And these immortals, clearly not used to such strong stuff, start losing it. You can almost feel the tension building. You know what's coming.
And here's where it all starts to really fall apart. As these fox spirits, because that's what they are, get hammered on the king's fancy wine, their human disguises start to wobble. Their true forms, specifically their tails, begin to slip out from under their robes, just dragging and swaying around.
Oh, wow. In plain sight.
Pretty much. Big Gan, who's watching closely under the bright moonlight, he sees them, clearly.
Yikes.
And his horror is just palpable. He thinks, I, in my high office, bow to monsters. It shames me to death. This is it. The big reveal. The moment the mask slips. Publicly.
The illusion just shatters.
Completely. The monstrous truth is laid bare right there in front of a top official. It's a great example of how even the fanciest deceptions can unravel thanks to something as simple as booze. Shows how fragile that kind of superficial power is.
And Daji, always the quick thinker, the manipulator.
Always watching.
She sees her descendants, her minions, showing their true forms. She realizes the game is up, fears her whole plot will be exposed, so she quickly orders Began to leave. Shoos him away to try and contain the mess before it's too late.
Damage control.
Exactly. A desperate move to protect her scheme and herself.
So Began leaves the palace, just reeling from the shock, totally distressed. As he's leaving the inner court, he bumps into King Wucheng, Huang Feihu.
Oh, this general.
Yeah, who's out on patrol guarding the city. Began, just stamping his foot in despair, tells Huang Feihu the whole crazy story. He stresses the turbid chaos in the court with spirits and monsters. He's not just reporting something weird, he's saying there's a massive threat to the kingdom's core.
Right, corruption at the highest level.
Exactly.
Now, this moment in this story, it's a really interesting look at leadership, at how people react. Because unlike Began, who's kind of overwhelmed by the horror of it all, Huang Feihu just springs into action instantly. Why such a different reaction to this supernatural threat? Began, the scholar, seems almost paralyzed by the moral wrongness, while Huang Feihu, the general, sees a tactical problem to solve.
It's a fantastic contrast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Began represents that moral outrage, the scholarly discernment. His horror comes from the breach of etiquette, the blasphemy of beasts pretending to be gods. He's focused on the ethical collapse.
Right. Huang Feihu, though, he's a military guy. He doesn't get as bogged down in the moral side. He just sees a concrete threat that needs immediate, decisive handling. He's pragmatic. Boots on the ground thinking. Pretty much. Began sees the court's corruption. Huang Feihu sees an enemy to neutralize. Now. And that difference is crucial. It shows that effective leadership, especially against a sneaky enemy, often needs both moral clarity and swift action. And sometimes different people are better suited for different parts of that response.
Meanwhile, back with the foxes. The drunk ones are struggling to keep their human disguises going as they stumble out of the palace.
Not a clean getaway.
No, they can't even manage their illusionary demonic wind or hazy mist anymore. Around 5 a.m., one of Huang Feihu's generals, Zuji, spots them in the dark. He sees them crawling into a stone cave near Xuan Yuan tomb.
Ah, the lair.
Yep, about 35 li, maybe 17, 18 kilometers south of the city. Their hideout is found. That's a huge turning point.
Huge. And when Zuji reports back, Huang Feihu doesn't hesitate, does he? Orders swift justice. Swift and brutal.
He tells Zuji, take 300 family guards, load up firewood, block the cave entrance, and burn it down by noon.
Wow.
Yeah. It's direct, it's harsh, and incredibly effective against this supernatural threat that dared to sneak into the palace. A really rapid, no-nonsense counterattack. Very different from Daji's subtle scheming. It shows how sometimes raw force can just cut right through complex deception.
And the aftermath is grim. It confirms Huang Feihu's plan worked. Began joins him to check the site. They get there, smoke still rising from the cave.
A grim sight.
Yeah, proof of the fiery payback. They order the guards to put out the fire, use hooks, and drag out the charred remains of the foxes. The poem sums it up so vividly. Joyful drinking and passing cups at Deer Terrace. Why did the foxes come disguised as immortals? Only because their foul stench was seen through, bringing disaster of scorched bodies and crushed bones.
Oof, that last line. Scorched bodies and crushed bones. And what's really kind of tragic, a detail you might miss,
What's that?
is that a lot of innocent foxes, ones who couldn't even transform, they died in that fire too.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they got caught up in the punishment for what their more powerful, scheming relatives did. It really highlights how indiscriminate that kind of swift, brutal response can be, and the wider cost of all this deception.
But the story doesn't just end there, with the fire. Amidst all the burnt bodies, Began spots some fox furs that weren't completely charred.
Ah, and here comes the plan.
Exactly. Here's where he shifts gears. From just horror and moral outrage to this really audacious, cunning, strategic move. He proposes, basically. Let's pick out the good furs, skin them, and make a robe to give to the king.
A robe made of.
Oh, yeah. His goal. To disturb Daji's heart, make her uneasy in front of the king, hopefully cause some internal strife, wake the king up, maybe get him to finally banish Daji, and show their own loyalty in the process.
So it's not just proof.
No, it's psychological warfare.
That's a huge shift for Began, isn't it? Moving past just being shocked or even ordering military action, it's shrewd, maybe even a bit ruthless.
Definitely ruthless.
using Daji's own family, her dead kin, as a weapon against her. He's hoping the physical presence of these fox skins, maybe even carrying some energy of their death, will just completely unnerve her,
Right?
force her to react in a way that finally exposes her true nature to King Zu. It's a really high-stakes gamble. He's risking his own neck for what he sees as the good of the kingdom, a desperate play to force the king's hand against this powerful, supernatural enemy. It's almost like fighting deception with another kind of deception, using her own tools against her.
And then the narrative just leaves us hanging with this chilling proverb. It serves as this profound, almost ominous warning. Those who mind their own business often face no trouble, but beware that your schemes may bring calamity upon yourself.
Ooh.
It's a dark, really thought-provoking way to end this chapter.